Look, if you're a parent, you've felt it. That constant, low-level hum of anxiety about raising kids in this super digital world. It feels like every single day there's a new headline designed to make us panic. And that is exactly why today, we're diving into the work of Professor Jacqueline Nesse. We're going to get a calm, clear, evidence-based guide.
And yeah, it is so easy to feel overwhelmed. But the goal here isn't to add to the noise. It's to shift you from that feeling of constant panic to a place of informed confidence, armed with strategies that actually, work. Okay, let's dive in.
So here's our plan. We're going to start by really understanding the why, like what is actually going on in the adolescent brain. From there, we'll get into the how, building a real toolkit for discipline, finally solving those screen time battles, navigating all those tricky, hot topics, and creating a super practical smartphone plan. And then we'll wrap it all up.
All right, first things first. We have to completely reframe how we think about the teenage years. What if, instead of seeing it as this problem we just have to survive, we saw it for what the research shows it is, a period of incredible opportunity, a time of super fast growth and learning that we can actually work with, not just fight against.
You see, the whole key is to work with these deep-seated developmental needs, not against them, especially when it comes to the online world. That need for exploration, well, that's why they're so drawn to new apps and online communities. That need for social status, that's a huge, huge driver of why they use social media. Getting this is the foundation for everything else we're going to talk about.
So now let's talk about discipline. This starts with a really fundamental shift in our thinking. It's about seeing discipline not as punishment, but as our entire system for teaching our kids what's acceptable behavior.
And that system, well, it stands on 3 legs. The first is warmth. That's your connection with your child. The second is structure. Those are the rules and the predictability. And the third is consequences, which are what guide their behavior.
So warmth is all about building that positive, loving connection. I love this idea of thinking of it as making deposits in the bank of trust. Structure, on the other hand, is about having clear, consistent limits. And hey, here's a pro tip for older kids. Get them involved in setting the rules. It gives them a sense of ownership, and they're way more likely to actually follow through.
Okay, let's break down this whole consequences thing. I know this chart looks kinda academic, but it's simpler than it looks. If you want to encourage a behavior, you can either add something good, like say extra screen time for getting homework done, or you can take away something they don't like saying, hey, you don't have to do your chore tonight. Now, to discourage a behavior, you can add a consequence, like a new chore, or, and this is the one we all use the most, you can take away a privilege, like the phone. See? It's all just about adding or removing things to guide their choices.
Now, this quote here points to something every parent has experienced. It's called the extinction burst. Let's say you finally decide you're going to start ignoring your kids' whining. So what happens? The whining gets worse. It gets louder. It gets more intense because they're doubling down to get that old reaction from you. But here's the secret. That burst of bad behavior, that's actually a sign that what you're doing is working. Knowing that can give you the superpower you need to stay consistent.
Okay, let's get really practical. Let's take this whole framework and apply it to one of the biggest daily battles in any house: screen time. The key here is to stop being reactive and start being proactive way before the meltdown even begins.
So first, let's just have a little empathy. Why do they absolutely lose it? Well, for one, it's genuinely hard to stop doing something fun. Their brains are still developing the ability to switch from one task to another. They might be totally overstimulated, super frustrated that you made them quit in the middle of a level, or just dealing with huge feelings they don't know how to manage yet.
So how do we get ahead of the meltdown? Simple things, really. Make a plan together before the screen even goes on. Give those clear warnings. 5 minutes left, 2 minutes left. Go into the settings and turn off autoplay. That's an easy win. And here is a total game changer. Have an appealing but low-key activity ready for after screen time. The goal is to make the transition to something fun, not just away from something fun. And always, always validate their feelings. I get it, you're disappointed, while holding that boundary firm.
All right, let's wade into some of those big, scary topics that fill the headlines, shall we? We are going to move away from the fear and get straight to the facts, based on what the research actually says. This is the big one, right? You hear it all the time, that screens are causing these massive, dangerous dopamine surges, basically turning our kids into addicts. But what does the science really say about that? Okay, here is the most important clarification you need to know. Dopamine isn't really a pleasure chemical. It's more of a motivation chemical. It's the thing in our brain that drives us to seek out rewards.
And yeah, of course, social media is designed to tap into that system to keep us scrolling. But, and this is a big but, for the vast majority of kids, it is not scientifically comparable to a drug addiction. So the big takeaway? Focus on balance and moderation, not on panic.
Take video games, for instance. They are nearly universal. But check out this difference. Teen boys play, on average, more than 2 hours a day. Compare that to less than an hour for girls. The thing is, for many, many boys, gaming is a primary social space. It's how they connect, it's how they cooperate, and it's how they compete with their friends.
So what do we do about violent games? Well, the research shows that there can be small, short-term increases in aggressive thoughts right after playing, but there's very little evidence linking them to long-term serious violence. So the advice is pretty straightforward. Know your own child, know the actual games they're playing, talk openly about your family's values, and work together to set some flexible limits.
All right, let's move on to maybe the single biggest decision a parent has to make in the digital age, the smartphone. Here is a practical, no-nonsense playbook to help guide you.
First off, there is no single right age. It's not about a number. Instead, you should ask yourself about these 4 R's. Do they show responsibility in other parts of their life? Do they understand and accept the rules that you're going to set? Do they have a basic grasp of online risks? And be honest, what are the real reasons they want a phone? This little framework helps you make a choice that's right for your kid, not just one based on pressure.
And once they have a phone, a few rules are absolutely essential. The big one, and this is non-negotiable, no phones in the bedroom at night, period. Adolescent sleep is way too important, and phones are literally designed to mess with it. Create other phone-free zones like the dinner table to protect that family connection time. Make it a rule that they need your permission for new apps. That keeps you in the loop. And finally, you set the expectation. Be kind online, and when we text or call, you answer. That's just part of the deal. I love this quote because it perfectly captures the role of technology in all of this. Yeah, you should use parental controls. They're a useful tool. But you need to think of them as a gate, not an impenetrable wall. They can slow kids down, they can create opportunities for conversation, but the real foundation of safety isn't the software, it's the ongoing conversation and the trust that you've built together.
So let's bring all of this together. The whole point is to move beyond that daily, headline-driven panic and start developing an empowered, proactive approach to being a parent in this digital world.
Professor Nesi uses this wonderful metaphor of a 3-legged stool, and it's just perfect. One leg is the research, all the stuff we've been talking about today. But the other 2 legs are just as vital. Your own expertise as the person who knows your child better than anyone on earth, and your child's own unique needs, their temperament and their strengths. The science can give us a map, but you are still the driver.
So I'll just leave you with this question to think about. How can you take these ideas and shift from simply reacting to the latest scary headline to proactively and confidently building a digital environment in your own home, one where your kids don't just survive, but where they can actually thrive?